What if I told you that a single bizarre mistake during a space mission led to an explosion of conspiracy theories? It may sound unbelievable, but that's exactly what happened when Katy Perry's flight to space with Blue Origin sparked a viral storm of doubts and questions. The mission, which included some high-profile celebrities and was led by none other than Jeff Bezos, seemed like a momentous occasion, but everything took an unexpected twist when a small gaffe occurred, one that conspiracy theorists quickly latched onto. So, what happened on that flight? Was the whole thing staged? Was it all just a show for the cameras, or is there more to the story than meets the eye? Let's dive into the bizarre incident that's caused so much controversy, and let's see whether the mission was really the elaborate hoax some people are claiming it to be. After the New Shepard capsule touched down, all eyes were on Jeff Bezos as he made his grand entrance. In an iconic moment, Bezos grabbed a special tool and proudly opened the hatch to greet the all-female crew who had just returned from their brief trip to space. But here's where things took a strange turn. Footage from minutes earlier clearly shows the capsule door being opened from the inside by the crew before being hastily shut again. Now, this might not seem like a big deal at first glance. After all, it's not uncommon for people to open a door from the inside of a capsule after landing. But what made this moment stand out was the timing. Why did the crew open the door and shut it again just before Bezos appeared? This odd detail didn't go unnoticed. It was a small mistake, but for conspiracy theorists, it was a goldmine. Online, the theory quickly began to spread, and people began to argue that this was definitive proof the mission had been faked. How could they explain such a mistake if not for the fact that everything was carefully choreographed for the cameras? The video went viral, and before long, countless comments and posts were circulating online, each claiming that the entire mission was a publicity stunt staged for the public eye. On X, formerly Twitter, some users took to the platform to express their suspicions. One skeptic even wrote, "I'd say this is the nail in the coffin. Fake." It was clear that people were ready to believe something bigger was going on. As the controversy brewed, conspiracy theorists began to hone in on the capsule's door. The core of their theory was simple. The door was too easy to open. Many argued that the New Shepard capsule was not pressurized, and that it looked more like a flimsy door than the sturdy reinforced hatches you'd expect from a spacecraft. After all, space missions typically involve capsules with complex locking mechanisms designed to withstand the pressures of space travel. Critics pointed to the fact that other space capsules, like the SpaceX Crew Dragon, take a long time for engineers to open upon landing. It's a difficult process because of the immense pressure inside the capsule, but the New Shepard capsule's door opened effortlessly, leading some to claim that this was all a setup. On X, commenters shared their thoughts about this anomaly. One remarked, "Doesn't look like a pressurized hatch to me, more like a flimsy door," while another said, "Pretty sure pressurized doors don't open inwards. The capsule looks like it's an inflatable tent, and the only footage they showed was the weightlessness part, which you can achieve in a plane." The suspicion grew, and more people began to believe that the mission was not as real as it seemed. But is there a logical explanation? Actually, yes. The New Shepard capsule did indeed reach space, but it only barely crossed into the upper layers of the atmosphere, which explains why the capsule's pressure wasn't as extreme as what's typically seen in deeper space missions. The capsule's door design was built to accommodate the conditions of this lower altitude flight. It was not required to endure the same level of pressure as capsules sent to the International Space Station, which often experience more intense re-entry conditions. Now let's talk about something else that raised a lot of eyebrows: the cleanliness of the capsule after landing. According to conspiracy theorists, the capsule looked remarkably pristine after its journey through space. The idea that a spacecraft could return from space and remain so spotless seemed impossible to many. The theorists pointed out that other space capsules, like those used by NASA, are usually scorched from re-entry due to the friction and heat generated when returning from space. But this capsule looked almost as if it had just been removed from the factory floor, with no visible marks, burns, or damage. One commenter wrote, "The trip was faked." Aside from the fake door opening by Overlord Bezos, the paint on the capsule isn't even slightly scorched from re-entry. This comment perfectly sums up the growing frustration among the skeptical crowd. However, there's a simple explanation for this apparent anomaly. The New Shepard capsule didn't travel far enough into space to experience the extreme temperatures associated with re-entry. The flight reached an altitude of just 66.5 miles, which is on the edge of space, but it didn't go far enough to experience the intense heat generated by re-entry that spacecraft traveling to higher altitudes face. This explains why the capsule didn't look scorched. The low altitude also means that the capsule didn't face the same extreme conditions experienced by spacecraft that travel to the International Space Station. In short, the capsule didn't need the kind of insulation or heat resistance that some other spacecraft require. As the conspiracy theorists found more holes in the story, the theories began to grow, and when high-profile celebrities like Katy Perry and Jeff Bezos were involved, it only added fuel to the fire. The presence of these famous individuals in space raised suspicions among many who believed that something wasn't quite right about the mission. Some conspiracy theorists took the opportunity to spin wild stories about satanic rituals and secret societies. They pointed to the crew's mission patch, which depicted a rocket rising past women's faces against a starry backdrop. Some claimed that the patch, when flipped, resembled satanic symbols, particularly the image of a goat with an upside-down cross. While these theories seemed far-fetched, they began to gain traction on X, where users speculated that the mission was actually part of a secret occult ritual, with Katy Perry at the center of it. One user wrote, "Katy Perry, one of the biggest industry's occult promoters, is one of the signs this is fake." Another added, "Satanic rituals in the middle of Passover to show they mock God. What else would Katy Perry and Co. be doing at the week of Passover?" It's important to note that such theories were not based on any solid evidence, but were instead the result of a combination of fear, suspicion, and the influence of celebrities on the public's imagination. So why do people fall for these kinds of theories? According to Dr. Daniel Jolly, a psychologist specializing in conspiracy theories, space missions have always attracted skepticism. The famous moon landing denial, flat Earth theories, and now the Blue Origin mission, all of these share a common thread. They're events that challenge our understanding of the world, and when something challenges our perception of reality, conspiracy theories tend to thrive. Dr. Jolly explains that space missions are often seen as so complex and inaccessible that they become ripe for conspiracy. The very fact that space is vast and difficult for most people to grasp makes it easier for individuals to question the official narrative. Professor Karen Douglas, an expert on conspiracy theories, adds that people are attracted to these kinds of theories because they offer a sense of certainty. When things seem unclear or unresolved, people look for alternative explanations to fill the gaps in their understanding. This need for clarity is especially strong when it comes to events that are mysterious, like space missions.